The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. Recorded in the state of Washington by a group of campers in 1971, it is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
Hello, welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. Hello everybody, welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We'd like to thank all of our previous listeners for returning and any new viewers. Thank you for clicking on this channel. Earlier today I was watching Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. He did a live interview of Jeffrey Lilly. Now some of you may remember that on my channel I have put up a couple of videos of Jeffrey Lilly's stories. And it was really nice to see Jeffrey for the first time for me to actually see him and hear him relate his story in person. He had emailed me his stories for me to narrate. But it was such a pleasure to hear these coming from Jeffrey's own mouth. And I'm glad I got to do that. I was kind of wishing that I had heard this before I narrated his stories. Giving me a little bit of an insight into the man himself. But anyway, it was a real good interview. Jeffrey, if you're listening, I really enjoyed that. Thank you for pointing it out to me so that I could tune in and see it. And of course, if you look up at the upper right hand corner of the screen, I'm going to put a link up there to the Jeffrey Lilly series that I was able to narrate. Good stories, good information in there for everybody to pay attention to. I mean, Jeffrey had some encounters, was not believed, was dismissed by his parents, and that should never happen. As I say in most of my videos, parents, if your children come in and they're serious as a heart attack, saying I saw something or I heard something, you better listen to them. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to end up being a Bigfoot, okay? But it's going to be something, and you should never let a child walk away thinking that you don't listen to them, don't think enough of them to pay attention to them. That's just basic good parenting advice, and you know it. So anyway, a child comes up and says, there's something in the tree line peeking at me. You better check it out. Don't dismiss them and say, oh, go play, it's your imagination. Well, it's probably not their imagination. Maybe it's something that they misinterpreted. Maybe it's an owl, or maybe it's a Bigfoot. Or something worse. Maybe it's a human predator. Okay, we know they exist. We know bad things happen. Okay, folks? Never dismiss your child. Check it out. Humor them, if you will. Okay? Also, if you have had an encounter with a Bigfoot, share your story. Share your encounters. We need to get these stories out to the public. We need to share the information, the details, so that others are aware of it when we go hiking, camping, fishing, picnicking, etc. And the occasion comes up where one's in the area that will recognize it for what it is and will know how to behave to not aggravate the situation, but to de-escalate and, if necessary, leave the area, which is a good idea sometimes, okay? All right, you all know that. I've said it before. Send in your encounters. So let's take a look around. We're going state by state, and today we're going to look in the state of Florida. The skunk ape. Of course, the Seminoles didn't refer to them as apes. They, as all other Native American tribes, spoke of them as being people, forest giants, other different names that they had for these large people, other tribes that they had dealings with and trade with on some of them, and some of them they just stayed in their own territory and ran from them and kept their distance. So we're going to take a look in Florida. Here we have one from 1980 in Orange County, Florida. This one reads, a few years back I lived in Plymouth, Florida. We lived in a wooded area. In front of the house there was an orange grove. Beside us was a swamp. Around that was a wooded area. I used to walk through the woods with my rifle just to feel safe. There was an old couple that had a farm across the woods. I got to know them pretty well. I would go there for coffee. The old man and his wife would tell me stories about this Bigfoot. The farmer said that the Bigfoot comes into his garden and takes his crops. And I said, oh really? I didn't believe him. And that was that. Until one night, I was home alone with my puppy dog. We were sitting on the porch, and you couldn't see 3 feet in front of you. I heard this noise breaking through the brush. I got so scared I ran into the house, grabbed my rifle, and stood behind the front door. I could hardly move. Then I heard whatever it was go around the back of the house. It tried to get in the door. I ran out the front door into the orange groves. I kept on running. My foot got caught on a root of a tree and I fell. I rolled into the swamp and lost my rifle. I looked back and I saw a Bigfoot. I got up and ran to the road. There was a truck that stopped to help. I called my friends and they came over, and the whole back door was ripped off. The farmer said to me, I told you so. There are a lot of strange things out there. There are some footprints in cast that people got in Rock Springs, Florida. Now that's just terrifying. It really is. Dropping your rifle and you run and you're tripping on the tree. It almost sounds like a movie. My goodness, that's and the door's ripped off the back. This is really, really something. Apparently, okay, I'm looking at the follow-up investigation report. It was a woman, and let's see, she never seen or heard before this happened or since, and apparently she's moved to New York. Okay, I guess I would too. But as we know from one of my other videos, says there are sightings in New York also. So they're in all 50 states, folks. There are sightings in all 50 states. Yes, even Hawaii. Recently, we've found out that there have been sightings in Hawaii. So, and I'm going to be looking into that as well. A lot less well known, but yeah. My goodness, I don't know what I would do if I had had my door ripped off my place. These things are powerful. Must have been tremendously angry. It seems as though these beings have laws that they follow, and they don't really do a whole lot. But every once in a while, one gets out of line and does something like that. This is why we, the people, need to be made aware of what our government knows about these creatures, so that we can be prepared against things like this happening. I know you all agree with me on that. So we're going to inform each other about it through this channel and others similar to it, by telling and retelling the stories as faithfully to the facts as possible. Now, if you're listening and this is your story, I want to hear from you. Give me more details. Now, before I go on to any other stories, I do want to encourage you to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notification of the future releases of videos that come out. And also check out the links in the description below. I am an Amazon affiliate, and some of the links down below, they're Bigfoot themed, of course. T-shirts, cups, key rings, that type of thing, all Bigfoot themed. And if you click on it and you buy something, I get a small commission on it. Just a little way of trying to put something back into the channel. And believe me, it's not that much. So, but anyways, it helps, and I personally appreciate that. But the most important thing is to like, share, subscribe, and if you've had an encounter and you're holding on to it and you haven't told anybody, now is the best time in history to be telling it. It is more acceptable. People want to hear them, actually, and there are many formats by which to get your encounter out. You don't have to sit on it and hold on to it anymore. You share it with me, bfrealencounters@mail.com. I'll narrate it word for word. I'll only cut out the cuss words or replace it with something different, And we can keep it anonymous if you wish to, or if you want to be bold and put your name on it, that's fine too. It's more acceptable now than ever before. So get your stories out there. You need to tell it to get it off your chest, because these things have an effect on people. So you need to tell it, and we need to hear the details for the educational purposes. Okay? bfrealencounters@mail.com. All right, enough of that channel maintenance stuff. Let's get on to another story here. And it looks like I found a newspaper article here, folks. It's from the Evening Telegram, Superior, Wisconsin, November 15, 1977. Ocala, Florida, UPI. A 67-year-old Baptist minister who said he hasn't had a drink in 40 years tells how he stood eyeball to eyeball for 30 seconds with a great hairy creature in the Ocala National Forest. The Reverend S.L. Watley, pastor of the Fort McCoy Baptist Church, said he spotted the thing out of the corner of his eye while he was cutting wood with a chainsaw 3 weeks ago. Watley recalled Monday, "It was standing upright in the middle of some palmetto bushes, and that sapsucker was at least 7.5, maybe 8 feet tall." The minister said the creature had dark, lighter than black hair on its head and chest, not much on its arms and none on its face. It had kind of a flat face, a flat nose. Its eyes were sunk in its sockets. Wiley said he quickly went back to his truck to get an axe because, he said, me and that creature was going to mix it up. But by the time he returned from the truck, the creature had disappeared. He hastened to add that he hasn't had a drink in 40 years. Wow, coming from a Baptist minister. A Southern boy, apparently, by the way he was talking. It kind of tickles me. And he wasn't afraid to put down with it, I guess. I just love these older news articles. And here we have one a little more recent, back in 2013 in October, Marion County, Florida. And this one reads, I was walking my dog on October 18th around 9 o'clock. We had just got back from dinner. We live in a subdivision that backs to the Ocala National Forest. As I was walking towards the end of the subdivision, where there's nothing but open land and empty lots, with some sporadic trees, while turning around I saw a figure crouching down. It immediately caught me off guard and, quite frankly, scared the crap out of me. The minute I spotted the figure, I pulled back my dog and grabbed my gun. I have a permit to carry, and we've had a lot of neighbors reporting bears and wildlife in this area. I backed away from the figure and yelled, I got a gun, I will shoot you, and other things. I had the leash in my left hand along with my flashlight. As I shined the flashlight at this figure, again, I yelled at it again, I will shoot you, I'm not kidding. thinking this was a hoax of some kind. My light caught this figure's face, and I got a reflective shine back at me. The figure stood up and walked behind this small patch of trees. The figure was huge, looked just like a large ape man covered in hair. I pulled my dog back with me and got the heck out of that area. I didn't see where it went after this. I've never been back to that area or walked it. I walk elsewhere now. Well, yeah, I guess I would too. My goodness. And it says, he also said here that other neighbors have reported to me bears, wildlife, and thumping noises. Well, thumping noises could be other animals. I know birds and even alligators can make thumping noises in their bodies for whatever purposes they do. So, you can't really attribute that to being just Bigfoot. But a large hairy creature, yeah. Goodness. Yeah, I'd walk elsewhere also, because that would just creep me out. You know, a lot of people think of Florida, you think of palm trees and beaches. It's not just that. There's forest down there, deep forest and swamps and everything. So there's a lot of diversity in Florida. That's the same type of thing people think about New York. You think of the city and the skyscrapers. Well, most of New York isn't like that. There's a lot of rolling hills and everything in New York, and most of our states have that. They have wilderness areas and plenty of room for the creatures to push over the trees and to peek around them at you. All right, folks, we do have time for one more here. And these stories are rather shortly written, so let's do a fourth story today. Back in November 1983 in Collier County. This one reads, I was hunting hogs by myself and had been in this area for about 3 hours. I was armed with a Remington Model 1100 12-gauge shotgun. I was walking between two large cypress bayheads in a sawgrass field that was approximately 500 yards wide by a quarter-mile long. I was looking down at the ground, searching for hog tracks. I had seen a group of about 8 hogs approximately 45 minutes earlier and was trying to outflank them. I looked up to see how close I was to the bayhead when I saw what was at first just a dark object at the edge of the bayhead. My first thought was that it was a bear. I crouched down and started to advance in order to see better and maybe get a shot at it. When I was approximately 80 to 100 yards away, it stood up on 2 feet. I froze solid, inside and out. What I saw was no bear. Its back was to me at first, but after about 5 seconds, it turned to face me. It was dark brown to black in color, stood approximately 6.5 feet high, and was very solidly built. I got the height by looking at vegetation where it had stood after the encounter was over. I was able to view the creature for approximately 10 to 15 seconds before it turned and went into the bayhead. I think it took me 5 to 10 minutes just to get my heart rate and breathing back to normal. I forgot all about the shotgun I was carrying. When I approached the area where it had been, I detected a foul odor lingering in the air. It was like something had soured. The grass was bent down, but there was no bare dirt from which to detect a track. I did not follow it into the bayhead. Well, I wouldn't have either, pal. I've told only my wife and father of this incident. I had heard from time to time about Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest, but this was the farthest thing from my mind that day. There's this creature in that swamp that's not a bear, not a human. I can't really say what it was, but I know it exists. Wow. And there's another encounter, folks. I think he knows what it is. That's why he sought out the Bigfoot Research organization and reported this encounter. And there's a lot of you out there right now who have had encounters also. And I would really want to encourage you to share your encounters. It would do you a lot of good. It would do all of us a lot of good. And if you're not comfortable sharing them with me, that's fine. I get it. I mean, you can send it in to Stevie's Doll on the facts by howtohunt.com. You can send them into Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot, a very good channel. You can send them into Cam Buckner on Dixie Cryptid. You can send them into Buckeye Bigfoot. You can send them into Bigfoot Case Files, Lynn Smith. I mean, there's a lot of really good folks out there that narrate stories. They do it better than I do. And but the point is to get the stories out there and so we can have the people educated about it. You've heard me say it. I'm going to keep on saying it. It's important. We need this information for the public to digest, and you need to get it off your chest. So send them out there. Send them to me, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Check out the links in the description below. Like, share, send them out to your family, your friends, your enemies, anybody. Let's get these videos around. And please help me grow my channel. That way these stories get out to people more and more, so that YouTube recommends it. I do searches all the time on my own channel and it doesn't even show up. I got to get people interacting with my channel, liking and commenting and sharing, and more views, and then the Bigfoot algorithm and automated services will start suggesting my videos when people do a search, or they'll put it in the next up after they've watched another Bigfoot video from another channel or whatever. And I'm asking you to help out. That would be really great. But you don't have to if you don't want to. It's all up to you guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these stories as much as I enjoyed narrating them. Be aware when you're out there on your picnic, you're hunting, camping, fishing. Listen for that stick cracking behind you. We'll see you in the next one. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.